Hello and welcome to Toilet Topics with Cody Galot. And today I will be reviewing / discussing the last episode of Star Wars Rebels. So what a great, send off to the show after 4 years. There was a lot of good moments. So let's kind of jump into the first episode that we saw tonight was A Fool's Hope. So it kind of starts off with, we had the Ghost landing on Jupiter base where we see Rex, Gregor, Wolf, Agent Kallus, and Hondo. So it's really, awesome to see like the new characters with the old characters, and you really could tell that this was, heading into the last, bit of this series that we've grown to love over the past 4 years. And one thing I want to point out is I loved Rex's outfit. I think there was something even pointing out that he was one of the soldiers on Endor, and it was definitely that rebel look. He had the helmet and the full garb and everything, and the beard going on. So kudos to Rex for looking great. So they kind of come up with a plan to save Lothal. And, then we can kind of jump over to Ezra back on Lothal, kind of meditating. And this is where he kind of has his vision of what's going to happen. And, later you learn in the episode that it pretty much there's multiple things that could happen. And this is what Ezra chooses. And we'll get to that a little bit later. Price is very worried about Thrawn coming back and seeing her failures over and over again, and her pretty much getting executed for her failure. So she's really ramping it up and trying to find the rebels. And that's when we get this kind of kind of crazy plan that Ezra comes up with, and Hera, with the help of Hondo, he actually says, for us to get into Lothal with these reinforcements, what we're going to do is hide by a hyperspace lane and then kind of sneak in. It's kind of reminded me of how the Millennium Falcon, waits, kills their engines, waits for them to dump the trash, and then kind of floats off. That's what it kind of reminded me of back in episode 5. The Empire Strikes Back. That's what, there's a lot of feels, callbacks to different series, throughout the animated show. So it was great to kind of see something like that. That's what that reminded me of, at least. We also get, once Ryder, at the beginning, you're like, is he actually betraying the rebels? Or not, and they really play into it like, oh man, this guy really betrayed them, are you serious? And then kind of by the end, or halfway through, you learn that he's not, he didn't actually betray him. That was just part of the rebels' plan. But we get some great moments when Price does try to go attack them on the crawler that they're on their base, and we get a good moment with Zeb kind of acting like Rambo, kind of just mowing people down with that kind of heavier cannon gun. Rook's still kind of kicking it around. He's just a pain, man. He just keeps showing up. It makes me think back on the episode when Sabine and Zeb pretty much knock him out, and they had the opportunity to kill him there, and they didn't. But yeah, we'll get to Rook's fate momentarily. So I think he gets what's coming to him. So Price thinks she's one, and then Ezra pretty much runs into the cave, and then Price orders her troops to charge in, and then we get that kind of cool scene, I think in the trailer, where it kind of looks, Ezra's looking evil, but it's actually him looking badass, because all his wolf buddies are behind him, and they just charge out of that cave, and they're tearing into the stormtroopers like chew toys, and Price is pretty much like, please don't let them eat me, and she surrenders, and that pretty much ends that episode. So that was a great episode. And then we get the 1 hour proper season finale episode, which was called Family Reunion and Farewell. So definitely a farewell. And if you can't already tell from the thumbnail you clicked on, but go check out my I did a farewell kind of collage, and you can find that image on, if you search my name, Wayne, Wayne Cody, Cody Gollott, Gollott on Instagram. You can find it there, or you can just look at the thumbnail, because I really love the show, and I wanted to represent that and kind of honor like as many characters as I could on that custom thumbnail that I made. So I hope you enjoy it. So jumping into this episode, pretty much Pryce agrees to take them back to her base after she gets threatened by the wolves again. So she takes him to the command center. Rook's still kind of hanging around. He's chased off by the wolf, and he kind of alerts Thrawn of what's going on. And then so they get to the command base. They actually are able to take the command center, and before they're actually able to launch it and destroy it like they were planning on doing, Thrawn shows up. Of course, Thrawn's a really smart guy, and he's able to actually, cut the shield generators with Rook's help. So he starts bombarding the Lothal's main city. So Ezra pretty much, says he surrenders and, heads towards the, without his group really knowing. Sabine knows, but Ezra kind of sneaks off and goes up to Thrawn to pretty much turn himself in. Very reminiscent of how Luke, turns himself in to the Empire in episode 6, Return of the Jedi. So that's what, they're even in the shackles. He gives up his lightsaber and all that kind of stuff. So that was a great moment. And and then Hera is pretty much sending her people to the shield generator to get that back up, so they can hopefully launch this and prevent Thrawn from shooting down at the city. And we get a good moment of Thrawn takes Ezra to the Emperor, but it's actually just the Emperor's hologram, and he looks like this kindly old man. And we have a part of the Jedi temple that was from Lothal brought on into this Star Destroyer. And the Emperor is tempting Ezra with the past. And how I took it was, if Ezra would have actually went through the gateway to his parents, that would have gave the Emperor the ability for time travel, or to use that gateway kind of spatial celestial realm to kind of choose and do whatever he wanted, even adding more to his power to make sure he stayed in power. That's what I took up from it. Another interpretation potentially is, if Ezra would have went there, he would have been out of the Emperor's way. I think it's more that the Emperor wanted access to that kind of power, and once Ezra destroyed that, it kind of terminated that permanently, I'm guessing, because I'm thinking that power was only on Lothal, and that's why they kind of the Emperor was there mainly to gather that, find that temple and try to gather that power. And then we kind of we show that Wolf, Commander Wolf and his team, what their special mission was. They head up to high orbit and turn their frequency to 0. And I didn't really see this coming, and maybe better fans than me would have noticed it. But this pretty much calls these force sensitive kind of hyper space traveling whales to come in and actually, help defend and eventually take Thrawn and Ezra out into hyperspace. And so we kind of get some, as they're trying to take the shield generator, Melch is shot, Hondo's friend, but he survives, and then Gregor is shot as well, and he actually unfortunately passes away in Rex's arms. We get red guards kind of attacking Ezra. They get the shields up in time, and Rook's kind of trapped, and he finally gets what he deserves and dies. And then let's see. And then, Ezra gets kind of shot by Thrawn. Thrawn's kind of trapped by the traveling whale things, and they jump into hyperspace. And then you don't know, is Thrawn dead? Is Ezra dead? You're kind of left wondering. Then we kind of jump to where Pryce, Hera and her team are able to launch the dome they blow it up and Price dies, so the villains kind of get what they deserve. And then they show the city celebrating, and then we see the time skip where it jumps past like the Battle of Endor, and it's Sabine kind of talking about it. She says how Zeb and Agent Callus go to Zeb's new home world and shows that he didn't actually wipe them all out, so that he kind of gets that redemption piece. We see that Jason is the son of Hera. I was not expecting that, so that's a great moment. And then Ahsoka kind of shows up at the end, and Sabine says that her mission is to go find Ezra. So are we going to see this in another animated show, him finding him? Or are we going to see it in a comic or a book? I hope we get that story told someday. I don't know if we'll get that anytime soon. I was looking up the dates, and it looked like, once the Clone Wars ended, Rebels came out like that December, I think. I think Clone Wars ended like in March, and then Rebels came out that same year in December. So I'm really hoping that, they continue on with some kind of animated show, either maybe even stuff from the New Order, or in the how that was formed, more information on that, just anything. I'm down. I love the animated series, and I feel like they have a huge world to explore. I hope you enjoyed Star Wars Rebels and my review, and if you like it, please thumb up. If you have any comments, please point them out to me if anything I missed. But until next time, this is Toilet Topics signing off.